Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Thank you for joining me here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Sorry we got started a little bit late. I received a late call from our brother, Mumia Abu Jamal, as we recorded our Classroom in the Cell podcast. By the way, if you have not listened to the Classroom in the Cell podcast, make sure you check it out on the channel. There are 4 episodes available right now, with a 5th one coming out tomorrow evening. But I want to thank y'all for joining me on the channel. Hit the like button if y'all are in the building, if you're paying attention, if you're good to go, because we have a conversation that needs to be had. It's a complicated conversation in our community. It's a messy conversation in the activist community, as well as the Black community in particular. But I want to talk about it. Shaun King, most of y'all know Shaun King. He is an American activist. He is someone who had a rise to fame after the death of Mike Brown. The Black Lives Matter movement helped to grow and produce a Shaun King. Many of you knew him from his tweets, from his Instagram, from his use of different journalistic platforms to put a spotlight on police brutality, police violence, police terrorism. You saw the images, the brutal and gruesome images sometimes on his timeline. He's also somebody who's been under extraordinary scrutiny. People have questioned his racial authenticity. People have questioned his intentions. People have questioned his financial propriety. People have questioned his tactics. People have questioned his integrity. And the list goes on. But over time, Shaun King has nonetheless become a giant. And by a giant, I simply mean he has a huge footprint in our activist circles, in mainstream media. And even when people don't agree with him, he still is in the conversation through various projects, various activities, various fundraisers, all of the things. So anyway, Shaun King, after October 7th, 2023, when we saw the beginning of a protracted war on Gaza following the Hamas attacks in Israel, we saw, of course, tens of thousands of Gazans killed since. We've seen a complete ethnic cleansing, in my estimation, of Gaza. And Shaun King has been on top of it. Shaun King has been one of the voices and one of the faces and one of the accounts that people have gone to the most. Shaun King lost 500,000 followers on Instagram talking about this issue of Palestine, but he gained millions. People all over the world began to connect him. You began to see other well-respected Palestinian voices link to him, co-sign him, repost him, collaborate with him as a means of expanding this message. Very recently, we saw Shaun King in Doha, Qatar, where he weighed in on issues of Israel and Palestine. Forgive my cough, y'all. I'm sick. And so, as the profile of Shaun King has grown even more for Palestine in some ways, and even did during Black Lives Matter, kind of expanding it, what we began to see is a lot of pushback. And about a week ago, Shaun King made an announcement on his own Instagram page. He said that he was under attack by the Israeli government and the American government. He said that these governments were conspiring or working behind the scenes to shut down his Instagram account, to get him taken down because of the impact that he was having. A lot of people rolled their eyes. A lot of people said Shaun King is once again attempting to grow his profile by making himself seem more important than he was. This is not the first time that he got that criticism, even on this issue. About 3 to 4 weeks prior, people criticized Shaun for saying that he was working behind the scenes to help get Israeli hostages freed. And then people came up with the smoking gun that proved that he was lying, because they said the family said that Shaun King made it up. But then Shaun showed receipts from another family member and text messages showing that he was working with the people. And there was as is often the case with Shaun and in these accusations, there's multiple sides and people saying one thing and they're saying he's clearly lying. And he's saying, well, here's the smoking gun proving that I'm correct, and blah, 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 blah. And so the debates continue. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not poo-pooing or dismissing the legitimate concerns people have about Shaun. I just don't want to. I don't want to get there yet. What I want to focus on first is the fact that Shaun was 100% correct that his account was under attack. If you go to my YouTube channel, and I told y'all last week on my YouTube channel, you can find the video, it's still there, that Meta, the company that oversees Facebook and Instagram, has been systematically attacking, banning, muting, silencing, deleting pro-Palestinian accounts. Not just a person doing it randomly or arbitrarily, it's a systematic effort based on thousands of occurrences. So what I want y'all to do is to look at this report. Go to after you leave here, go to my account, go to my channel, and look at the video I gave about Instagram and Facebook systematically doing the very thing that Shaun King said they were going to do. So it should be no surprise when we woke up the day before yesterday and found, or really early yesterday, right? It was like Christmas Day, Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day, that Shaun King's YouTube channel, excuse me, Instagram account was completely shut down. $5.5 million followers, almost 6 million followers. Now, some people said that ain't why. Shaun King was not, excuse me, Shaun King was not booted from Instagram because of Palestine. He's not that important. Let me tell you something. First of all, don't underestimate anybody. Don't underestimate anybody who has 5.5 million followers. If you have 5.5 million followers, the world is paying attention to you. If you leverage your power and your energy and your platform in the service of anything that confronts power, the powerful will do what they can to undermine your platform. That is simply a fact. I'm not saying anything about Shaun, good or bad, right now. I'm simply saying the man had a platform. Who else with 5.5 or 6 million followers is speaking out for Palestinians? I speak out for Palestinians. I got 500,000 followers. DJ Khaled has a ton of followers, but he's silent as a church mouse pissing on cotton. I'm sorry for that noise in the background. I can't fix it. It just started. Gigi Hadid speaks out. Huda speaks out. Amanda Seales speaks out. And they have huge followings. Shaun King just happens to have 5 or 6 million. That's major. And to use them for Palestine? To use them to critique the state of Israel? That's something different, y'all. And so this man was under attack. But let me be very clear. Drake's another one. Drake ain't saying shit. They asked Meta. The reports went to Meta. And I need y'all to see this. I'm going to pull up something from NBC News because I don't want y'all to think, again, that I'm just making this stuff up or that this is some arbitrary, a selective analysis I'm giving, right? No, let's pay attention here. Activist Shaun King says Meta banned it from Instagram because of pro-Palestinian stance. Now, we know that, right? But here's the important part. The Meta spokesperson said the account, Shaun King's account, was disabled due to multiple instances of praise for designated entities in violation of our policies. Oh, that's funny style. I know y'all with the battery. I apologize. Last time I'm going to say it again. I'll fix it later, but I got to keep going. They are critiquing the Palestinian oppression. Activists I'm talking about. They are critiquing Israeli apartheid. They are critiquing the disproportionate response of Israel after October 7th. And the people doing that are now being called supporters of terrorism. They didn't use terrorism in this, but that's what they were basically trying to say. They said his account was disabled due to multiple instances of praise for designated entities in violation of our policy. Who are these designated entities? Now, here's where it gets real funky. Here's where it gets real funky. Shaun King has never praised Hamas. But that's what they want you to think, designated entities, right? Who are these designated entities that are in violation? Who is it illegal to praise on Instagram? They're going to say terrorist groups. The problem is Shaun doesn't support terrorist groups. He has supported the Palestinian people. He has challenged the Israeli authorities. But what they're doing is, as always is the case, they are conflating that thing. So that every time somebody supports Palestine, it looks as if they're supporting Hamas. Now, again, I'm not shaming people who do support Hamas. I think that's a complicated conversation, particularly if you're Palestinian. This is a complicated conversation to have. But at the very least, we have to be honest about the fact that that ain't what Shaun did. And the reason why this is important is not just for Shaun, because Shaun has a platform, 5.5 million people, and yes, they're making an example of him. They want you to know that if you're too big and you're too powerful, and you use your scope and your platform to support Palestine, they're going to take you down too. That's what Meta is trying to tell you. That's the thing I'm talking about, Meta right now, Facebook and Instagram. But what does that mean for the average person? Again, look at the report that I posted last week. If you got 200 followers and you just hit the like button too much on something Palestinian, if you follow too many accounts that are pro-Palestinian, if you post a video or you repost a story, they might stop you from going live. They'll disable you from going live. They'll disable you from monetizing your page. They'll disable you from following certain people. They will unfollow certain people from you. This is literally what they do. And again, I'm talking about is Instagram and Facebook right now. This is just the reality. And a lot of you all have small accounts and you feel like you're crazy, or you feel like you might be crazy because you're like, wait, didn't I follow that person? Or, yo, I swear to God, I made that post and it went through. Why is it gone now? Yo, why is it that I got 100,000 followers and nobody's hitting the like button? It's like nobody can see this post. You're not crazy. The Human Rights Watch report demonstrates that this is, in fact, the case. So let's be very clear about that. So what's happening with Shaun King is not a surprise. By the way, if you got questions, drop them in. If it's off topic, just drop it in with a super chat. You can, I'll raise them too. Hit that like button right now if you feel what I'm saying. But here's where it gets funky. Shaun King has been a loud voice for Palestine. He has also been a complicated and controversial figure, not just for Palestine, but period. Shaun King has been challenged about fundraising. Shaun King has been challenged about money. Shaun King has been challenged about the treatment and engagement with Black women. I did an interview with Shaun King for my old show, Black Coffee. If you look on it's on YouTube somewhere with BET, where I pressed him on these questions. I asked him about these questions. I asked him what it meant for him to go after Black women through the criminal legal system at the same time that he's trying to dismantle the criminal legal system. What does that mean to be suing Black women? What does it mean the way he's going after Black women online? What does it mean for him to have multiple companies that go down financially? Even if he's not stealing, there's still the question of why is there a level of irresponsibility here that is no longer defensible? These are the questions people have for Shaun King. I don't want to make this a Shaun King attack, because that's not what this is about. But the question does become, how do we respond to a moment like this, even when the person, or especially when the person is someone that's controversial? In other words, if you're one of the people out there that don't like Shaun King, if you're one of the people out there that doesn't bang with Shaun King at all, if you're one of the people out there that says Shaun King is bad for our community, he is a danger, he is scary, he is dishonest, he is whatever you think Shaun King is, do we then allow this to happen? How do we deal with this? That's the fundamental question. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is Here's how we do not deal with it. I saw on social media yesterday multiple people say it doesn't matter what Shaun King did. There's a bigger free speech issue here that we got to deal with. Wrong. We have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, family. We have to be able to criticize Shaun King and address the legitimate concerns that people have expressed in our community. We have to be a community that listens to those voices. At the same time that we say we cannot allow what Meta did to Shaun King to stand. We also have to be willing to accept and respect the voices of people who say, this brother has done harm in our community. And because of the harm that he has caused, I do not feel comfortable advocating for him. I'm going to sit this one out. I don't support censorship, but I'm going to sit one out. We should not be shaming people who say, I am not riding for Shaun on this one. I'm not riding on this one. Again, that has to be an acceptable response. It's like when Palestinians say they're not going to vote for Joe Biden after he just bombed Palestine. I could make the case for why not voting for Biden only creates worse policies under Trump or Nikki Haley or DeSantis or whoever becomes president. But how the hell am I going to tell a Palestinian to vote for the person who's actively allowing their country to be bombed, who's actively enabling through money and weapons a genocide in Gaza? How could I do that? Right? So similarly, I'm not telling nobody who feels like they've been harmed that they need to just ride for Shaun. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is we don't want to ignore that issue, but y'all can't be dismissive of people who are saying, yo, this brother's done harm to us and we need to deal with that. I'm not using this space right now, or any space really, to criticize Shaun King. That's a different context and that's a different conversation. I do think as a community, we need to have more rich and deep conversations about Shaun King and who he is to us and how we're going to engage him in the community. That's a real conversation. What I'm saying here is there's multiple things we have to do at the same time. We have to respond to the attack on free speech. We also have to deal with the moral and political complexity of that issue being spotlighted through a person who a lot of folk don't bang with for reasons that many folk find legitimate. This is a very real question. And then we have to figure out what the ultimate tactic or strategy is. That's what I'm saying we have to do. By the way, we got some questions and comments coming in. I appreciate y'all and love y'all. Chris says, you can also be shadow banned so you won't show up in the Explore page or even in the feeds of people who follow you, as you were saying. For people whose livelihoods are found on sharing online content, this is horrible. Thank you, Chris, both for the comment and the generous love you showed the channel. That is exactly right, y'all. Look out for the shadow ban. When you post stuff, check and see if your friends and family are getting it. See if your comrades and colleagues can see it. Because if they can't see it, that itself is a fundamental problem. Check it out. And you're right. It's a horrible thing for people whose livelihoods are founded on sharing online content. It's an awful situation. That's the thing that we got to be mindful of. Somebody says Shaun King is human. Absolutely. And we have to deal with humans on a human level. At the same time, we have to simultaneously not use the idea of this person is human as an excuse to not hold them accountable. We're all human, but we all also have to be accountable. So let's keep that going. Muhammad L said, is this live or premiere? And this is live, homeboy. This is live, my brother. Live and direct. Hit that like button if you want more content like this. Let's have this conversation. We're gonna keep going though, family. We're gonna keep going before I leave y'all alone. Again, keep the comments coming. Hit the like button if you want to. Hit the subscribe button if y'all paying attention to this, man. We want to grow this platform. Keep it going. Hit the join button. I know some of y'all have been waiting to join. You can hit that super chat button, but you can also just hit the join button and become a regular member of the MLH community. It makes life great for us because it allows us to build and expand the platform. That's how we get people like Mumia, Abu Jamal, their own podcast on the channel. That's how we're going to bring coffee and books podcast back alive and right here on the channel. We're gonna do all of this stuff through your generous contributions. We got Sid Dave dropped 5 and said, if Palestinians establish an Islamic state where they persecute LGBT women, religious minorities like other Islamic nations, would you regret your support? This is such a bizarre question, but I'll answer it because I said I would. First of all, the goal of Palestinian people since the beginning of this struggle has not been to establish the goal of the Palestinian people has not been to establish an Islamic state. It's been to establish a independent, free Palestinian state. More recently, there have been Islamic movements like Hamas that have emerged, but their primary goal still is national liberation, not to form an Islamic state. They're not like Daesh. They're not ISIS. This idea of persecuting minorities and other people is a fascinating thing. I'm not doing whataboutism here, but I would say the state they're in right now is one that persecutes LGBT women, religious minorities, and other Islamic and other communities. I'm talking about Israel. So Palestinians right now who are sitting inside of Israel or who are effectively controlled by Israel because of their longstanding, record-breaking military control in the West Bank or their effective control of Gaza, what you see is religious minorities not being able to have the same rights and freedoms. You see, you think that people can't just get married in the Jewish state who aren't Jewish? They have to go to Cyprus. They have to go to other countries and get married. You think LGBTQ folk have these smooth, easy rights in Israel? That's called pinkwashing. You think religious minorities, it's a Jewish state. You think Christians and Muslims have the exact same rights? Come on, man. The goal of a Palestinian people is self-determination, freedom, and justice. That's what I support. Would I regret if somehow the Palestinians created a state that was somehow less democratic than I'd like? No, I wouldn't regret my support. Would you regret, and I'm not saying you in particular, I don't know your politics, but would you regret support? Do you regret support for Israel because it's turned into a racist apartheid ethno state? I mean, how do we think about these things, right? How do we talk about these things? These are the questions that we have to ask. Somebody here said, Jenya Kilmanik said, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. What is a democracy to you? Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East? Democracy means rule by the people, the demos, right? Isn't that what the DEMO means? The people. But what people? People in Ramallah can't get a vote, but they're controlled by the rules and the laws and well, there's no constitution in Israel, but the basic laws of Israel. How is it a democracy? If you're talking about the electoral process, sure. Everybody who's a citizen gets a vote, sure. Arabs get a vote, Jews get a vote, the Druze get a vote. Lots of folk get votes in Israel. Problem is, how many people aren't allowed to be in the pool? How many people aren't allowed to be citizens? How many people aren't allowed to vote? Because they're Palestinian. They go back 18 grandmothers in living in Jerusalem or living in Ramleh or living in Lid, and they can't vote and they're cast out. But someone can come from Brooklyn or from Romania or from Paris and move right away and become a citizen. This is not democracy. This is not democracy. We could talk about it more, but I don't want to get too far off topic. These are the points that Shaun King was trying to spotlight. Shaun King was using his page to put a spotlight on the suffering of Gazans. Now, Shaun King is not a Palestine expert. If anything, Shaun King has learned about this issue since October 7th, and he's used his platform to grow and expand in his knowledge and in his thinking on this stuff. That's what we're supposed to do. Again, I'm not defending Shaun King, but his use of his platform for Palestine was powerful. So for me, the question is, are we willing to use our organizing energy, to use our voices, to demand from Meta that they reinstate his account? Remember, they didn't say he was permanently deleted. They said that he was suspended, right? Or they said that he was disabled. Now, disabled doesn't necessarily mean permanent, but it could mean permanent. So what do we do? Do we organize to restore his campaign, not to defend Shaun King or to protect Shaun King, but to protect the broader principle of free speech, to protect the broader principle of creating space for contrarian voices, for dissident voices? That's not a bad argument. But we have to listen to the people in our community who say that they've been harmed. And here is why this gets messier. Because the primary people saying we have been harmed are Black women. The primary people are the group of people who are the most likely to be dismissed and marginalized. And so we can't have our Palestinian brothers and sisters who we're standing in solidarity with say, okay, we feel y'all, but our struggle is more important than your pain. Our concerns and our use of that platform trump what Black women have been saying for 10 years, what organizers and activists have been saying for 10 years. We can't do that. And too often, when it comes to organizing and when it comes to movement building, we often silence particular voices and prioritize other voices. And we can't let that happen. And that's happening right now with the Shaun King situation. That's what's happening exactly right now. There are people who are saying, look, we hear y'all Black people, but Shaun is kicking ass for us right now. Now, again, there are Palestinians who have raised issues around Shaun. So it's not purely it's not purely Black folk who are saying this stuff. But at the end of the day, we have to be willing to listen, not just to the loudest voices in the room, but also to the most vulnerable and often silenced voices in the room. So how we respond to Shaun King being kicked off IG is not as common sense. What do you say? It's not the simplest solution. It's not. Oh, it's common sense, of course. Like, he got kicked off. We need his platform. We need his voice. This is principled. Let's fight for him to bring him back. There are people who have legitimate concerns, and we have to address them. We got somebody coming in. Hawiya Isa, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, rahmatullah ta'ala wa barakatuh. It says, omission is one of the most virulent forms of censorship. This is overtly digital authoritarianism. But to play devil's advocate, does the owner of a social media platform have the right to do as they will? Yes. People have a right to do certain things, right? But this becomes a legal and a philosophical question about what these platforms are. Has Facebook or Instagram or Twitter become so big that it's not just a private space, but rather the public sphere? Because there are politicians who have been sued for blocking people under free speech rules. Is the platform too big to do that? Also, I have a private business. Say I got a restaurant. I have a private restaurant, but I can't say I'm kicking you out because you're Black or because you're a woman or because you're this or that. They're protected classes. Now, obviously, this isn't a protected class issue. My point is, from a moral and ethical perspective, are we thinking about this purely as this is somebody's private club and they don't want people with this opinion in there, which is still sketchy, or is this something different? And again, when we start talking about, as Miriam just did, and she's absolutely right, the discriminatory algorithm, and again, watch the old video. I talk about this. Watch the old video. I talk about this. We Instagram and Meta are structured in such a way that pro-Palestinian voices are getting weeded out. This is a problem. Shout out to Faye Love. Appreciate you joining the team. We love to see you become part of the Marc Lamont Hill official channel. We love you. We appreciate you. We're shouting you out there. Look, this is a complicated issue. It's a messy issue. And I don't want to pretend that it's not. But what we cannot do, no matter what, and I know I said it, and it's the last time I'm going to say it, we cannot silence vulnerable voices in our community. We also cannot afford to have powerful platforms taken away arbitrarily that are speaking out for freedom. When we look back on this moment in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, We are going to be ashamed at the number of people who were fired, who were silenced, who were marginalized, who were smeared, who were um, censured simply for speaking out on the right side of the issue of Israel-Palestine. Yo, y'all, this smoke detector is bothering you more than me. Norin Rad said, change the battery in the smoke detector. I will, y'all, I promise. I went live and started going off. I couldn't stop the live to climb up on the joint and fix it, but I promise you it won't happen again. But, you know, I'm trying to get this to you. I didn't go to the studio. I'm sick. I'm in the crib. I'm doing my best. Yes, if you want, how about this? If you want me to fix the smoke detector, I want hit the subscribe button or drop like Norin did. Drop me some battery money in here. I promise you, I'll get it done as soon as possible. Independent says, Assalamu alaikum. The concern is not solely about Palestinian, involves on the principles of justice and injustice. That is correct. That is correct. The problem is sometimes when we talk about justice and injustice, we only frame it around a very narrow set of issues. So we'll say Palestine is right, free speech is right. And all those people saying we got an issue with Shaun, well, they have to take a backseat to the bigger issue of Palestine or the bigger issue of free speech. But who is to decide that that's the bigger issue? We can't, again, dismiss or ignore Black women and girls. We can't ignore activists. We can't ignore vulnerable, marginalized LGBTQ voices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, I'm not making a judgment about Shaun. I'm not making a judgment good or bad. I'm saying that we have to listen to all of this and have a principled, engaged community conversation about how we structure this, about how we respond. And first of all, I want to know what the hell they're accusing him of doing. I need more answers from Meta. Meta can't just say to us, the account was disabled due to multiple instances of praise for designated entities in violation of our policy. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Now, let's dig on that a little bit before I go. Meta has a policy called the Dangerous Organizations and Individuals Policy. The Dangerous Organizations and Individuals Policy. This policy says that Facebook and Instagram do not, quote, permit praise, substantive support, and representation of various dangerous organizations and individuals. So they're saying that Shaun King has been praising or supporting dangerous institutions, or excuse me, organizations and individuals. Who are these dangerous? Who are these dangerous individuals? Who are these dangerous institutions, organizations? This is the scary part. Because again, they're basically saying if you Palestinian is the problem. They're saying the Palestinians are the problem. That to defend Palestine is to defend dangerous individuals. To support Palestinian freedom is to support a dangerous agenda. To support any kind of resistance is to support terrorism. That's where we are now. So you could just post a picture of a kafia and they'll say it's terrorism. On some of these platforms, if you even put the word Palestine in the title, it'll trigger the algorithm on Facebook. This is dangerous stuff, y'all. This is scary stuff. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as we talk about this issue. Keep that in mind as we push on this issue. Is we got a lot of work to do, fam. You know, I'm about to roll, y'all, but are there any other questions or comments before we out, man? I'm gonna give y'all a shot. In the meantime, y'all hit that like button right now. It lets that same algorithm know that y'all like what I'm doing and y'all want more conversations about free speech. Y'all want more conversations about Palestine. Y'all want more conversation about radically confronting power. Also, y'all hit that join button. I'd love if y'all hit that join button. Before we wrap up this year, we want to have as many people as possible join the channel. It allows me, again, to expand the platform, to get more editors, to get more cameras, to get batteries for that smoke detector. It allows me to build this thing out. It also allows me to create podcasts and platforms for other people. I know some of y'all are excited that Mumia Abu Jamal is joining the platform from the prison. We do that through your efforts and through your commitment and through you joining the channel. There are 2 more podcasts that are coming that I think y'all are going to be excited about. And I know a lot of y'all want me to do night school. Y'all want me to start doing my evening lectures on various topics. I am excited to do that. I'm looking forward to doing that. But to do that, again, we need resources. So make sure you hit that join button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Maybe make sure you at least hit the like button. because we appreciate everything y'all are doing, and we want to make sure that y'all appreciate everything we're doing by doing it better and faster and more efficient and fancier and more beautiful. Wait, somebody said only 47 likes. Word? We only got 47 likes in this piece. I can't see the likes right now. Yo, hit the like button, y'all. Oh my God. Y'all just say anything on this joint, man. Y'all just say anything on this joint. Marc Lamont Hill, you spelled my name wrong. Palestine hates you because you're American. Really? That's crazy. I've been to Palestine a lot of times. I've been around Palestinians a whole lot. I get love from Palestinians every single day. I've never been told that I'm hated by a Palestinian. I never got dissed by a Palestinian. I've never been told that I'm an American and so they don't rock with me. That's not been my experience. My experience has been the opposite. That Palestinian people have shown solidarity and love, and Black folk have shown solidarity and love for a very long time. So, you know, y'all can keep spreading those lies and trying to divide us. But this moment is an opportunity for radical solidarity, for coming together and building, for becoming a broader community. Another conversation, another question coming before we roll out. Anything else, y'all? All right, family, look. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. That's the last time I'm gonna say it. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and please hit that join button if you're so inclined, so that we can continue to grow and expand this platform. I appreciate y'all, and I will see y'all later. Peace.